Howdy ho, everybody. This is Ed. I'm here to virtually taste with you for our Thursday night tasting we do here at Old North State Winery. We do it every single week. Well, almost every single week. We try to do it every single week at least. And for those of you that can't be here in person at 6 p.m. on Thursday, we offer this virtual tasting so that you can try, different wines that you may be missing here. We do about 200 wines a year, exploring all the wine regions of the world, piece by piece. And we think it's really important. Obviously, we're a winery here in the Yadkin Valley. We want to know people why Yadkin Valley wines are special. But to frame our wines, you really need to know the wines of the world to understand what makes them special and unique, just like all these other regions are special and unique. Chef Chris usually joins me. He is away on business right now, so I'm going to be the lone wolf and try to, maybe not be as entertaining as Chris and I bantering back and forth, but we are going to get through these wines. And of course, I won't have a food pairing for you. Chef Chris will certainly have that in your pickup pack, but we won't be able to discuss his awesome food pairings. You know it's going to be delicious though, so that goes without saying. Well, it's been a crazy busy week for us. We just had one of the busiest weeks we've had probably since pre-COVID at the restaurant. So we're all kind of, trying to catch our collective breaths as we move forward into another potentially busy week. We're actually going to be closed on Friday night for a large party, which is always nice. It's not nice for our regulars on Friday night, but I think they understand when you have something of that nature. It's not very often, and it's so good for the restaurant and our staff. Some of our staff will have a Friday night off, which is unheard of in this business, and they probably need it more than anybody. And well, what can I say? I may be off on Friday. Fingers crossed. We'll see how it goes. Of course, I'm always available to work because I love what I do. And so if there's a chance, I'll probably come running in to work instead of taking the time off. But anyway, it will be nice for some of our staff that rarely gets a weekend night off. We just had a bunch of wine festivals this past weekend. I got to go to Madison and pour a lot of different wines that we make here that Tyler makes for us, and got to speak to a lot of people I've never heard of. They didn't even really know Mount Airy that well. So hopefully we get some residual business out of that. It was hot, let me tell you. I was not doing well in that kind of 95-degree heat on asphalt, although I did have a tent which kept the sun off of me, but there was no relief from that heat and humidity. And boy, it was humid. So with that being said, I survived that, got the good word out on our wines that we make here, and now I'm going to get the good word out on some wines of the world for you to enjoy. Certainly going to be an experience that probably you've never had before with this particular wine. This is a beautiful Turkish white wine blend, Kavaklidere, which is the producer. It's also Canakaya is the white blend that we're going to talk about here, of Emir, Narins, and Sultana. And Sultana is actually like the Thompson seedless grape that's grown all over California. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think that grape is actually the most widely planted grape in California. And you might be like saying, what are you talking about? But they're used to make golden raisins. So you can make wine out of them, clearly. And they're also known for their great golden raisin as a product. So there's, I want to say, like 200,000 acres or something of this grape just planted in California alone. And, not all of us think about eating raisins every day, but boy, if you compiled our United States, how many raisins are probably be eaten every day, you probably do need that much acreage to create raisins. I know I'm a big fan of them. Usually though, the darker ones that are in the oatmeal cookies that I always really do enjoy it. I always feel like those are the healthiest cookies. If you're gonna eat cookies, oatmeal and raisin at least has something of some substantial nutritional value, right? At least that's what I tell myself as I'm kind of cheating a little bit on some sugary sweets. So here we have like I said, a beautiful white blend, and this is probably the most beloved white blend of this area. You know, we're not talking about massive amounts of wine being made in this region, but this is considered one of the best, and the decent amount of alcohol here for a white wine, 13.5%. And when I tried this, well, I guess it was probably 2 months back. You know, I immediately wanted to get some. They're like, well, we don't have that much. So I waited till they got some inventory in enough to where if I showed this to our Thursday night tasting club, that they would have the ability to actually order some. I mean, it's fun to taste wines, but I also don't want to be a tease and say, well, I hope you enjoyed it because you're never going to get any more. And that's really not what we're about. We're really about exploring and revisiting. And I think that's important too. You know, these are not just novelty wines. These are serious wines that are consumed, and probably not a lot of export because, you know, quite frankly, they're delicious. Why export them? Why not enjoy them in Turkey? So this is also, I want to make point that this is a blend from 2 different regions. I believe Turkey, if I'm not mistaken, has 8 distinct regions, but there are several. We'll go with that. Obviously, Turkish wine regions are probably not my forte, but this is around the capital of Turkey, and we're talking about Central Anatolia. And this is just, what can I say? It's a really interesting, delicious, I think, white blend. Now, the nose here certainly kind of would, I don't know, it almost, to me, reminds me of some Italian whites that we've served along the way. And, you know, we were going to have a little Italian wine right after this. And I mean, maybe I just have Italian wine on my brain, but that nose reminds me of some really lean white blends, or even maybe a Spanish white. But anyway, there is some chalkiness, minerality, very subdued in the fruit department. And this is what I really like about this one. On the palate, beautiful texture here. About, you know, it's not thin, it's not too heavy either. Has certainly some organic notes and mineral notes and fruit, and a beautiful long finish. This would be so ideal for any kind of cheese displays. You know, this hot weather. This is a really refreshing wine. I wouldn't say it necessarily tastes like anything that you're accustomed to in terms of the big wine varietals. You know, it's not a Sauvignon Blanc, it's not Chardonnay, it's certainly not Viognier or Riesling. But what it is a very delicious quality wine. I would say there's a bit of tropical, maybe lychee in there, which is not what I would say is driving the wine. Acidity is slightly on the plus, I would say, but I would never compare this to the amount of Riesling acidity that you have. So it really is a very balanced, in my opinion, balanced wine. Delicious with, I would say, anything cheesy, anything seafoody. And there's something to be said for this style of wine because, you know, it's really easy to get into the habit of drinking the same wines with the same food. So in other words, you know, hey, I'm doing, you know, seafood tonight. I'm going to have, you know, a Chablis or Pinot Grigio. And that's great. But life is too short not to have fun and explore all these different wines, and particularly with food. I think this is a great food wine. It is delicious on its own. But when you taste the structure, you can tell that it's gonna be even enhanced even more by the structure of the food combining with the structure of the wine. That's why I really fell in love with this wine the first time I had it, and was really anxious to get this. Maybe some of it is the anticipation for me, but I really was struck by it. And you got to keep in mind when I'm tasting these wines, I'm tasting them beside, anywhere from 10 to 15 other wines, and they're almost always going to be from all over the place. Rarely ever do I sit down and taste wines from one specific region. Not that I'm opposed to that by any means, because I will certainly taste all the wines no matter how you deliver them to me. So that being said, this wine stood out to me against some really big, more well-known wine regions. And it's not that I should be surprised. It's just that I haven't been exposed to this area like I have the others. And that's really, the way we should look at wines is, sure, there are certainly regions that deserve the acknowledgement of being consistent and delivering delicious wines to us on a regular basis. But it shouldn't be we shouldn't look exclusively to those areas, and we should also not assume that every single wine that comes out of those regions are great. Just like we shouldn't assume that, there's going to be a lesser quality wine coming out of a region that we don't know. So we only know what we taste, and that's why it's important for me to continue to preach that. I'll taste wines that are probably as very commercial named as you can imagine. The Castle Rocks and the I don't know. I don't want to sound negative, but you know what I mean. Big name wines that you would think, well, that's not boutique-y enough. That's for the masses. But you really do need to taste all these wines so that you have an overall understanding of the whole wine world, so that you know why boutique wines are great. Or, hey, maybe every now and again they do have a great, delicious wine, and that is true in the case of Castle Rock and many others. My mentor Dan Nelson, he blind tasted me on several things that were $7-8 that you would probably, if you were a bit of a wine snob, you'd probably not even try. But the reason I was blind tasting those is because they had something significant about them. The structure, the flavor, there was a typicity of a region, which when you're studying wine or just trying to understand wine a little bit better, that's an important aspect. So don't always get caught up in name brands, to the good or the bad. And that's basically my point here. So we don't have a name brand grape in here other than the Seedless Thompson that's in here, and wouldn't normally think of that as great wine making, more raisin making. And we don't necessarily have a brand name producer in terms of what we're accustomed to seeing in America, but I'm sure it is in their home country. And, Turkey is just not on most people's radar for great winemaking. But here's a perfect case of, if you just let your palate decide if this wine is tasty or not, well, the wine wins. And so do you, because you get to experience something completely different, but also not weird different. Like, we're not talking about something that is so foreign to you that you don't even have a way to approach it or to understand it. This is a very understandable wine. It could also be a little bit, another thing that was reminiscent to me, this could be like almost like a slightly more underripe Rhone white blend. It would be like more, if you thought of that, and if you think of the white Rhone blends that you've had, and they're usually ripe fruit, more plush. Think of that maybe if it was underripe, a little more underripe, little more on the slightly more acid side. I think that would be a great kind of flavor description and structure description of this style of wine. And you know how I love my Southern Rhone. Everything, whatever they make, I tend to like for sure. Well, I know whatever Chef Chris decides to pair with that, it will be delicious. So we're going to move on to the red. And we do have this beautiful red here that is from one of my favorite producers, Enrico Serafino. Enrico Serafino, of course, producer of great Gavi. And Gavi, if you don't know, is one of my favorite whites. It's an Italian white. And this is their Barbera d'Alba. Now, easy for me to say. Barbera is also, hi. Becca's swinging by. Are you getting ready to go to your massage?
Oh, in a little bit. I just haven't picked up Eli.
Okay.
I already had a glass up here.
Would you like to join?
I would like to.
You've already missed the descriptionary thing, so you'll just have to.
Well, I'll try the white and then I'll tap out and send Clay up here.
You'll
Thought
have
about
to-
bringing Eli, but he might be a little too much.
Yeah, it might be a little high strung.
A little bit.
So, Serafino is, like I said, one of my favorite red wine or white wine producers, and of course, I was very excited to get to his stylish reds here. We're talking about a 140 years of wine experience in his family, mainly in the Longue, Roero, Brunellos, Barbarescos, all the Sangiovese, Nebbiolo style things that we expect from Northern Italy, plus of course the whites. And so Barbera is that little workhorse grape that doesn't get all the respect that the other reds get, unfortunately, but really kind of a plush wine here. And of course, with Serafino, you're going to get some oak, and that's not always the case for Barbera. A lot of times it's just going to be just kind of a fruit-forward, kind of almost, I don't know if jammy is the right word, but just really fruit cocktailish. But not surprisingly here, just really more sophisticated in the delivery for the Barbera. Mouth-watering acidity, which I really love about this, because usually when you have this kind of fruit density, these darker fruits, I always think of Italian reds being kind of on the high-toned, kind of cranberry, tart cherry kind of thing. And here, when you're talking about Barbera, you're talking more about plummier, darker fruits, and oftentimes that kind of takes you away from those tart, acidic notes that actually I adore, which make them so good for food. This still has that, so you really have the best of both worlds. It's still a red Italian wine, and even with it having a different fruit profile, you're still getting the things out of a Italian red that you crave, and this kind of this a little bit more body than a Sangiovese or Nebbiolo, but it's still not a heavy wine. So you do have some plushness and just a hit of a little vanilla there from the oak. Absolutely beautiful. What do you think about that Turkish white?
Oh, I love it.
Isn't
It's
it
so
nice?
good.
Yeah.
It's a lot brighter than I was expecting it to be.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know any of the grapes. I was looking at them and I don't know any of these grapes. So
yeah, the Sultana is actually when it was introduced to California by a guy named Thompson. It is actually the seedless Thompson grape, which we make golden raisins from in California.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, so that's just a little trivia for you, but you can make raisins or wine out of it. Your choice.
Well, I like it with wine.
Absolutely.
I would prefer the wine than
Yeah.
the raisins. Not a huge raisin person myself, but that's delicious.
Mhm.
And like I said, I didn't realize that was the golden raisin, but.
Mhm.
Even still, I don't recognize the other two grapes, so I went into it not
Yeah.
really knowing what to expect, but it's very nice. I mean, very summery.
Yes.
Great. I feel like it would be pretty easy to pair.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, we got a
I'm
7-year-old
sorry.
running around. If you hear his footsteps,
Probably hear him running
this
up and
is
down the
this
stairs.
is absolutely unedited and uncontrolled, really. We don't have a director or a producer
No, you
or a
get the
bodyguard.
very organic ONS experience in the video. Like there's no second take. There's no editing. It's very organic.
Yeah, this is what I would call ONS life. This is what we do.
The after hours when
We
when
just
Eli's
had the
in
last
here
customer go, and
you got some crazy noises and
Eli just got out of school and he likes to run around, and first of all, I want to say he also helped set up the diner.
oh yeah, he
loves-
blessed and reset because he's
Yeah.
the boss.
Yeah.
He's the new ONS boss. He is self-titled, And so he comes in after school. You know, first grade's really hard, and then just gets out that whip and just starts cracking that whip at everybody and takes over the whole place.
And
so
it's probably because we need it.
We do, absolutely. We need the 7-year-old telling us what to do.
Yep, absolutely. I also want to note this really beautiful bottle too. You know, it has a nice little plant. You know, oftentimes I badmouth Italians a little bit for their lack of quality of cork and or quality of bottle. This is a thicker glass. It's got some nice little shoulders on it. You know, and actually, you know, well aged there, as you can see, and still a particle. Still got the particle pieces, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I will say that one is polished.
Full synthetic.
Yeah. So it's not synthetic. So anyway, a quality product.
Up here to try that.
Oh, you guys? Okay.
Sure. I can't drink the red. So
Oh yeah. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, and thanks for swinging by.
I'm gonna try to control the noise level a little bit.
Good luck with that.
See if I can.
So, you know, this is usually when, you know, Chris and I will talk about, you know, something silly like the weather or, you know, doing yard work and whatnot. And, you know, I always miss him in our videos, but it was nice to have a cameo or two. And I don't think you saw Eli, but I'm pretty sure you heard him. He is full of energy. Boy, if I could bottle that. So anyway, so we're really got two beautiful wines here. It's also both have really high ABVs in terms of you know, it says 14. I bet it's more, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be more. It doesn't have to say more, but it is certainly not short on punch in terms of that. Absolutely love this wine. I love this winery, everything they do. I think they're doing a lot of things that people respect, and we are very fortunate to have access to several of their wines. Like I said, Gavi, probably not the, actually they have Gavi de Gavi. I think that's exactly what we served at the chef's table. And of course that is something that most people don't have, you know, on their radar, but you should. And once you have this beautiful red, it might open up your mind to trying some of their whites. For all of you out there that maybe aren't white wine lovers, I would highly recommend that as a wonderful food wine and just a really elegant one. And again, everything that I've had from this estate is elegant. And well, for what it's worth, I like fancy wines, especially when you can get them, you know, under 20 bucks. So if you can get fancy wines under 20 bucks, then you're living your best life, and you can drink them any night of the week you want. And that's the case for both of these wines. And, you know, keep in mind, you know, we're not trying to necessarily aim at a price point. When I taste the wine, I want to share it with you guys, and so we do. Of course, you know, there's going to be a time or two where there might be a little out of our price points for what we do, but for the generally saying that when there's a tasty wine, I'm going to get it to you somehow, some way. It just so happens that here lately they've been, for the most part, under $20, which is really nice. So don't forget, it's always best to buy wines that you've already tasted instead of blindly going down the aisles and ordering or throw something in your basket based on the label or the price. You know, let's taste the wines and then decide. You know, it shouldn't be the other way around. It shouldn't be looking at the price and then deciding, you know, because you can really trick yourself into compromising because you're like, oh, well, that's not so bad for $8. Well, okay, I'll give you that, but wouldn't you rather just have something that tastes delicious at any price? Because that's what I'm trying to do here. And I think that these two wines are a perfect example of wines that, you know, if someone said they're 40, you would say, great. Or if they said they were 20, you'd be like, even better. So that's really the idea here of what we're doing. It's not necessarily that we're trying to pick low priced wines. We're just looking for wines that are delicious at whatever price point they are, and then somehow finding a way to deliver them to you. So next week, hopefully, Chris and I will be back together doing our thing and probably saying stupid stuff that we shouldn't be, but that's okay. We like to let you into our little world. And, I do appreciate all the support out there, all of you that are doing the family meals, by design, of course. We're offering anybody that wants to do family meals. You can certainly say, hey, just surprise a chef, and we'll take a family meal for 4, and that's really working out well for a lot of you out there. And it takes kind of the heat off of you for preparing a meal, and it's incredibly inexpensive when you compare it to any kind of similar service, and the food is made from quality ingredients, just like our menu here at the restaurant. Well, until we meet again, don't forget anything you need, seafood, cheeses, even beer. I've been getting a lot of requests for beer. We're happy to track those down if you're having a hard time finding them out there in the grocery store world. Well, cheers everybody. Always a pleasure. And to all my good friends out there, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.